Hi you guys, thanks for checking out the video, for visiting my channel, John the Pilgrim. I'm John and I'm on the Isle of Iona and I'm in the yard of the St. Columba Hotel in Scotland. They graciously gave me permission to film on their property. Behind me over there is the Abbey of Iona, which built in 1203 on the site of the ruins of the monastery of St. Columba. This is a fourth Celtic pilgrimage for me, and the name of this video is Story. What I want to talk about is the concept of story and how we understand faith and religion and scripture in the context of story and in the framework of what story is. When we talk about religion, particularly Christian religion, we normally talk about it in terms of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And one way of thinking about these two groups of scripture is that the Old Testament is a collection of stories about the Jewish people and their God, and how it was pretty unique or original that they had one God when most cultures of the day had many different gods. But the Old Testament could be thought of as a group of stories about how these people related to their God, how their God gave them a set of rules. This is what I want you to do, this is what I want you not to do, and how they really had trouble following those rules, and God was often angry at them. And so we kind of put that story over there. That's the Jewish history, that's the Jewish stories. And now we have Christianity, which is a different set of stories, starting with Jesus Christ. Now, whether you're a Christian or not, it is difficult to successfully assert that Jesus Christ never existed, that he never lived. Most serious historians know that there was a man named Jesus who was born in the area at the time and became an itinerant preacher. There's three non-Christian historians that all talk about the historicity of Jesus at the time. Josephus, who was Jewish, non-Christian, Pliny the Younger, who was Roman, secular, and gosh, right this second I'm blanking the third Roman historian that talked about Jesus. Anyway, the history of Jesus is not in doubt. What is controversial is whether or not he is who he said he was. But the New Testament is really the stories of how Jesus taught, what his followers wrote about him, they wrote about him, and what they did. But what I'd like to put forth there for you to consider is that Scripture is all one story. It's not two different chronological events that are recorded by story. It's all one story. It's like a three-act play. The first act would be pre-Jesus, the second act would be during Jesus, and the third act would be everything that happened thereafter. If that is an accurate way of talking about it, then the story is still going on. We are in the story. It hasn't ended yet. Now, Christians will tell you that Scripture tells us how it's going to end, but that it has ended is not accurate. It has not yet ended. And every believer who is living out their story is part of the larger story. It is said that the church is not a building with people in it, it is the people who are in it. We are all the church. We hear that all the time. So, in a sense, the story is millions of stories. Each one of us who lives life as a Christian is living the story of what it is to be Christian. If you follow along that reasoning, that it is all one story, it's that God knew the end from the beginning, then I would like to suggest that it's a love story. It's a story about a God who created a people so that he could be in relationship with them and love them and be loved back. It's a love story. And when he basically said, I don't want you to do these things, I want you to do these things, it was out of love that he said that. He knew that sin hurts us, sin destroys whatever it touches, and he loves us too much to let that happen. So that was why he set up the prohibitions, but we didn't listen. There's another video that I'm planning to talk about that. But when he sent his only son, Jesus, to redeem us, to bring us back to him, it was sort of along the lines of him thinking, if they only knew how much I love them, they wouldn't turn their back on me. We know what that feels like. As human beings, we know what that emotion is like. I believe we got it from him. That he brought his son to earth, put his son on the earth as a sacrifice to bring us back so that we could come back to him exactly as he asked Adam to do. I mean, not Adam, I'm sorry. Abraham. Gosh, it's so cold here, my brain is dead. No, my brain gets dead without the cold. Anyway, so I'll wrap up. I want to thank St. Columba Hotel and just leave you with the thought that it's all one story. Our story is part of it. It's still going on, and it's a love story. Thanks for watching, and God bless.